Ben Shapiro, here's the Ben Shapiro thing that happened. Shapiro starvingly accepts $100,000 from one of my opponents, then tries to trash me. Sadly, you've trashed yourself. You didn't need my help. It wasn't me. It wasn't the Jews. It was just you. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to agree with Ben on this. Let's hear what Ben Shapiro has to say about Kanye West.
It really is pretty impressive stuff. Well, meanwhile, I would be remiss if I did not comment, at least in a minor way, on the President of the United States having a meeting with Ye, the anti-Semitic.
Why not in a minor way? I feel like that's a major point of news for you, right? Like, I feel like that, you know, you hate anti-Semitism, right? Like, I thought, wait, why would you only comment on it in a minor way? This is a huge story. Ilhan Omar could say AIPAC has way too much influence on American legislation, and Ben will cut 1 million videos on that. That's not even anti-Semitic. It's just a factually accurate statement, okay? Which he has done. He'll say this is like, you know, Holocaust denial or whatever the fuck. Like, he will go balls to the wall. Donald Trump has a literal fucking Nazi in a basically one-on-one dinner alongside another very famous anti-Semite, Kanye West. And Ben's like, man, I mean, maybe we should just talk about it a little bit, you know? I don't know. It's like,
rapper. And apparently Ye brought along Nick Fuentes. And Fuentes is, of course, a terrible human being and white supremacist. He, it would be, I think, unnecessary to go through all the horrible things that he said over the course of his brief and troubled career. But just maybe one clip will suffice. He's the kind of person who suggests that the Holocaust didn't happen because you can't bake cookies in your oven or enough cookies in your oven or something. Like, we'll play like one clip of this schmuck just so you understand.
I mean, I cannot believe that I am like almost entirely on board with what Ben is saying currently, by the way. He's right. He is 1,000,000% correct on this. Nick Fuentes is a Holocaust-denying Nazi. It's true.
Understand who he is. This is the person that Ye has chosen to work with. He's brought on two people. He's brought on Milo Yiannopoulos, the disgraced former quasi-conservative, and then he reinvigorated himself, did Milo Yiannopoulos, as an insane white supremacist Christian radical. Like I say that advisedly because I'm very much in favor of strong Christians in positions of public power in the United States. Milo, however, is the kind of person who puts out statements like this. Okay, there's a direct quote. Nick and Ye didn't discredit Trump's 2024 campaign with that dinner meeting. Trump did that himself by having the most boring low-energy announcement speech in history. He did it by continuing to suck the boots of the Jewish powers that be who hate Jesus Christ, hate our country, and see us all as disposable cattle according to their holy book. So that's Milo Yiannopoulos, the guy who...
By the way, that is so ironic coming from evangelicals, because the basis of evangelical support for Israel and Jewish people is literally exactly that. Seeing Jewish people as just a means to an end. Because ultimately, like, the biblical reasons, or like the biblical interpretive reasons as to why white evangelical Protestants are the number one defenders of Israel is because they believe that once Israel is exclusively Jewish, once that land all the way to Egypt is given back to the chosen sons and daughters of God, the Jews, then the rapture will happen. This is literally the basis. Like, and millions of Americans believe this, by the way, which is fucking insane.
Formerly an extremely gay person who now says he is not gay and has seen the error of his ways, and also is
That's pretty funny. He's talking about Milo. He's a formerly an extremely gay person.
Is a deep enough Christian that he believes that Donald Trump sucks the boots of the Jewish powers. So that's one person that Ye, who said he was not anti-Semitic, but is anti.
I'm not gonna lie, I agree with that assessment from Ben.
That Ye is associating with. The other one is Fuentes. And again, we'll play like one clip of Fuentes just so that people know who we are talking about. One of the most despicable voices in American public life.
If I take 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies and Cookie Monster has 15 ovens working 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years, how long does it take Cookie Monster to make 6 million batches of cookies? I don't know. That's a good question. Certainly, oh, no. It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Doing 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years. How long would it take you to make 6 million? I don't know. It certainly wouldn't be 5 years, right? The math doesn't seem to add up there. The math doesn't quite seem to add up there.
He can't stop himself. This is it. Nick Fuentes, this is what This is the reason why he is too much of a brand risk, even for the National Republican Party. Just a straight up fascist.
I don't think you'd.
So he's a Holocaust denier, and he's a white supremacist, and he's talked about, for example, how much segregated fountains were not bad for black people. Segregation was better for American society. He has suggested that he wants a full Catholic theocracy in the United States. Now, he's half troll. When I say half troll, I mean like 3/4 troll. That's what Fuentes does. That's his game here. But bottom line is that Ye shows up to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Trump, and he brings with him Nick Fuentes. And then Ye reported on this meeting on his Twitter feed in a debrief with aforementioned Yiannopoulos, who's standing there listening to him. We'll put it that way.
Trump was most perturbed about me asking him to be my vice president. I think that was like lower on the list of things that caught him off guard. It was the fact that I walked in with intelligence. So Trump is really impressed with Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes...
No, guys, listen to what Ben is saying, okay? He's not saying Nick Fuentes is trolling. He's saying, like, Nick Fuentes likes trolling to obfuscate from his actual opinion. Ben Shapiro is not exactly the number one fan of the alt-right. He's not he doesn't mind the alt-right, you know, the group of individuals that are pretty close to the alt-right. But when he talks about Nick Fuentes trolling, he's talking about like how Nick is trolling to hide his true opinions. Okay, like that's what he's saying.
Unlike so many of the lawyers and so many people that he was left with on his 2020 campaign, he's actually a loyalist. When he didn't know what the lawyers is, you'll still have your lawyer list. And when all the lawyers...
That's how you know these motherfuckers are such sycophants, bro. Like, that's not even a good bar, dude. Shut the fuck up. Stop saying bars. Like, imagine having to fucking deal with Kanye West all day, every day. And then he just has to turn around and constantly fucking, like, add a couple quick, like, rap lines in there in the middle of his conversation.
Said, forget it. Trump's done. There are loyalists running up in the White House, right? And my question would be,
what is this, by the way? Why did they post this? Talking about Nick Fuentes, and then like there is this fucking there's an interracial couple that is a mixed race couple that is with a mixed race baby, but they're wearing a Trump hat. Like what is that? What the fuck was that? Like why the fuck is the Proud Boy from Hawaii? Oh, like I don't understand why. I don't understand why they posted this. Like Ye posted this part when he's talking about Nick Fuentes, because like Nick Fuentes is literally a fucking Nazi.
Why, when you had the chance, did you not free the January 6ers?
Okay, so this is obviously nutty stuff. And what's happening here is that a bipolar manic depressive, Kanye West, who...
Yeah, notice how Ben fucking flipped the switch on Kanye West's mania so quick. He loved it when Kanye was like hanging out with Clandis. And you know, right up until the moment that Kanye started talking about fucking anti-Semitic nonsense, Ben was so on board. Remember when he did that original video where he was like, yeah, Kanye West, like, yeah, he does have like some level of mental illness, but also, you know, he's saying a lot of sane things, and I think we need to focus on that. It's not, his conservatism is not linked to his mental illness. I'm not gonna lie, dude. It is kind of funny watching him squirm. Like, why are all these Republican right-wingers who are clearly not mentally all there? Why are they anti-Semitic? Hypothetically, I don't understand it. Why? Why would that? Why would that happen, Ben? That's so strange, dude.
Who is experiencing a manic high right now and has been spewing anti-Semitism for weeks, open anti-Semitism for weeks, went to meet with Trump, and Trump put out a statement in which he essentially said, I was meeting with my friend Ye, and he brought along this person who I didn't know. He said, Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, was asking me for advice concerning some of his difficulties, in particular having to do with his business. We also discussed to a lesser extent politics, where I told him he should definitely not run for president. Any voters that you may have should vote for Trump. Anyway, we got along great. He expressed no anti-Semitism, and I appreciated all of the nice things he said about me on Tucker Carlson. Why wouldn't I agree to meet? Also, I didn't know Nick Fuentes. So first of all, the reason you wouldn't agree to meet, presumably, is because unless you're going to have a real sit down with Ye, and you will inform him that perhaps you should not be spewing the vilest anti-Semitism this side of Louis Farrakhan, that perhaps you shouldn't sit down with the vile the vile anti-Semite you do know, because he might bring along the vile anti-Semite you don't know. Trump shouldn't have had this dinner, obviously.
Yeah, why are there anti-Semitic racists in my white supremacist party? It's so strange.
It's gross that he did. It's gross that he was sitting with Fuentes. That's bad vetting work by his team, presumably, to even have Fuentes in the building with the former president of the United States. And Trump is taking it on the chin politically, as he should be taking it on the chin politically when you sit down at dinner with Ye West, who's in the middle of a mental breakdown, and his buddy, white supremacist Fuentes, right? Like, Trump's taking heat for that. And Trump correctly is saying, I didn't know Fuentes. I didn't want any piece of Fuentes. I didn't know who this guy was. I don't want any part of him. That's essentially the controversy over the weekend. Now, I will say, so then Ye decided for some odd reason that he was going to go on Twitter and come after me, right? Because I pointed out that probably you shouldn't have dinner with the vile anti-Semite that you do know, in this case, Ye, who's been putting together the Avengers of Eagle's Nest over here with Milo and Fuentes. That when I point that out, apparently this made...
I can't believe I'm agreeing with Ben Shapiro, man. That's crazy. Would you vote for Kanye 2024? No. Why the fuck would I do that? Oh, no, Ben. Oh, no, Ben. Come on, dude. No.
Ye, angry enough to... It looks like he handed over his Twitter account to Fuentes. It's not the fault of the Jews. It's not the space laser. It's not the shadowy evil cabal of Zionists on Friday nights. The person who trashed Ye was Ye. And when you surround yourself with Milo, and when you surround yourself with Nick Fuentes, it's going to be hard to avoid the perception that you're creating the Avengers of anti-Semitism over here with the full, like, Thanos glove. He's picking up all the jewels in the Thanos glove. So that is where things currently stand. Now, I will say this. The left, of course, is acting extraordinarily exercised over this, and some of that is called for, obviously. But I'm not going to hear that from Al Sharpton. So Al Sharpton went on the air and was ripping into Trump for associating with Fuentes. Al Sharpton does not get to talk about any of this stuff. Al Sharpton is a vile anti-Semite. Al Sharpton was heavily involved in anti-Semitism surrounding the actual riots in Crown Heights in 1991 that ended with the murder of an Orthodox Jew. Al Sharpton was involved in inciting.
Bro, he has, it almost feels like he has more words for Al fucking Sharpton than he does for Nick Fuentes. Like, he's like, Nick Fuentes, he's a troll. He's a Holocaust denier. Let's move on. Now let's talk about the real villain of the story. Al Sharpton. What the fuck? What is happening right now?
Actual violence against a place called Freddy's Fashion Mart in the 90s that ended with an arson that killed a couple of people. Like, Al Sharpton is a horrible anti-Semitic force in American public life. He's one of the worst people in American public life. The fact that the left trots him out to talk about anti-Semitism is absurd. It's almost as absurd as when Mehdi Hasan decided to trot out Ilhan Omar to talk about anti-Semitism.
Oh, shit. Oh, he's coming after. He had to do it to him. You know he had to fucking bring Ilhan Omar and Mehdi Hasan to the fucking conversation.
But the left has no standards at all on this sort of stuff. It's really amazing.
Are you saying that this man's running for president again and doesn't screen who he allows to come to the dinner table? That is against all protocol of Secret Service. For nothing other than security, they know who's coming. He knew who he was meeting with. He knew.
Ben did his due diligence of, like, you know, covering Kanye's anti-Semitism and Nick Fuentes for like 4 minutes. And like the entire time, he's like so painfully just covering it piece by piece. But he has to turn it around. He has to say that, like, this is a both sides issue. He has to somehow bring this back to the left. Okay. He did the bare minimum, and immediately had to be like, but the real anti-Semite is Al Sharpton.
The background, and now he's trying to, in many ways, do the Michael Jackson moonwalk when it does not apply.
For the record, like, I don't even like Al Sharpton. Ultimately, the idea that, like, you could equate Al Sharpton to fucking Al Sharpton 30 years ago, 30 years and 300 pounds ago, to like Nick Fuentes now meeting with the president, insane.
Has Secret Service, so they're saying Secret Service did not have a list of who was coming to dinner?
Really? So now Al Sharpton is very upset with people associating with anti-Semites, which is very difficult for Al Sharpton because he presumably has a mirror in his house. So that is a little bit awkward. Bottom line on all of this is the willingness to traffic with the anti-Semites is apparently great on a lot of sides of the aisle. And that is really ugly right now. And just on a political level, put aside all of the actual morality of this for just a moment, if you can. On a political level, if you are a Republican and you're looking at a man who has just declared that he wishes to run for the presidency again in 2024 in Donald Trump, and you do not have a staff capable of surrounding you with people who are not white supremacists, is this where?
I gotta say, it is kind of odd that he immediately went after a black leftist, Ilhan Omar, and a black liberal, Al Sharpton, to talk about anti-Semitism. Like he had to pick and choose. Okay, which by the way, Ilhan Omar, not an anti-Semite.